Welcome to another episode of WDRC in Santo Domingo. In this episode, we're talking about insurance. So you decided to move here or thinking about moving here. One of the important things is insurance, health insurance. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm here with Darlene. She's an insurance rep. And I'll turn it over. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. All right. So I moved here over 19 years ago. Life here is an adventure. It's a lot of fun, but there are risks. Insurance is all about managing risk. Medical insurance, to me, is one of the most important ones. And most of us as expats come here when we're a little bit older, over 40. Okay, not old, but over 40. And the risks become higher. The other risk here is the way that we live in this country, driving like maniacs, sidewalks that aren't properly built, all kinds of things like that make it easy to slip and fall, hurt yourself, get in an accident, or you simply are getting older and we get hit with things. My previous life, I was a financial planner. I looked at insurance. So on a personal level, after I moved here, I started looking at what was the options, what was available to me, what I could do to protect myself, and health insurance was a big one. I actually had a car accident, and I was working for a company because they had not paid the legal insurance that's required. I had no coverage. I was out of pocket for a car accident, and I made a vow that would never happen again, and so I started my own group. That's how my group got started and grew. And I looked at the big carriers. So, Humano, who I use, Universal, MapFree, there's a few of them. And there's new ones almost every year coming into the marketplace. And we've seen lots of changes. There's a lot of things you want to look at. You want to look at deductibles. You want to look at risk management. What do they cover, not cover? Who accepts the insurance? Can you go to whoever you want to? Critical. Critical to have coverage that lets you choose your doctor and get reimbursed up to the plan maximums. So, I looked at the two big carriers at the time, Humano and Universal. Here's what I'll tell you. They're both the same. Okay? Similar coverage, similar issues. We're in a developing nation. Administration is a nightmare. Humano was a little bit better. I chose them. Simple. But you need to choose based on your research about your needs, what you're comfortable with. If you have money in the bank, you can choose a different insurance than somebody who is living here and working here that an accident would be a big, big issue. You need more coverage. Do you have a country you can go back to closer to the end of your life when major things start to go wrong? Or is this your home forever? All those things come into play personally. So you need to take a look at what you need in terms of coverage and buy that. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we get a little into, maybe this is not specific, but how do you feel about the coverage down here?
Okay. So the coverage is actually really good. The prices are excellent. The plans that I offer, the one that I sell the most of currently costs about $55 US a month. Includes some prescription coverage, includes dental care, but has really good overall coverage with a copay of 20%, which is always a good idea. And you can go outside of the network of doctors, pay your money, get a receipt, and get reimbursed. That's critical. In the news lately, it's a lot of information about doctors and clinics opting out of coverage. Okay? And that's because they're fighting. Doctors and clinics and insurance companies fight over how much to pay. You want power. If you have the right to go outside the network, you have power. You go where you want to. Or you need a specialist or could need a specialist that doesn't accept insurance. Then you want to get reimbursed. That's really important. The plan that I recommend to almost everybody is a plan with reimbursable expenses. That is so important.
You mentioned, most people who come down or in a close to retirement age or a little bit older. How is it? Is it difficult for people over a certain age to get insurance?
Yes.
And what about preconditions?
Okay.
We can talk about that.
So when I first started, an insurance application had 5 questions. 5. Okay. It was easy to not always disclose. In North America, when I was dealing with insurance applications, they're 25 pages long. There's been changes in the industry. So now there's more questions. They want to know more history. Don't lie. They will catch you. Okay? Tell the truth. Pre-existing conditions can and will be excluded, but the rest of the coverage is in place. Secondly, get your coverage before age 65, even if you don't need it yet. Even if you're not living here full time, tie into your coverage so you have it. At the age of 65, there is only one company that will cover you. And in my professional opinion and professional language, the coverage sucks. It's expensive and it doesn't cover very much, okay? But it's better than nothing. Get it before age 65 and you have options. All the major companies will cover you up to age 65. Most companies at the age of 60 will require a doctor's medical. With their doctor, they pay for it. So you think of it as a free medical, okay? And then they'll say, okay, you actually have high blood pressure, you need to do this and this and this, or you are healthy like you think you are, standard coverage. The other thing that's changing, currently, a 15-year-old kid and me at the age of, something, we pay the same amount. Me, who is very active, dancer, good health, and the guy over there who smokes and drinks, we pay the same premium. That is changing. We were notified before the pandemic they're going to a banded age premium system, which is like what we have in North America, where a 60-year-old pays more than a 30-year-old. A smoker pays more than a non-smoker. Okay, those changes are coming. They're not implemented yet, but they're coming. So we need to be aware of it. The sooner you're inside a system or a program, the better.
Going back to coverage, you've lived in different parts of the island. Does it make a difference where you live in the island if you have insurance?
It does not. So depending where you live, it's more important to get out-of-network coverage. There are some places like Las Terrenas, for example, where you have fewer doctors available who accept certain insurances. So you want to make sure that wherever you're going to settle long-term has doctors available to you. But if you have the coverage for out-of-network, then you're fine. Okay, you just pay in advance and get reimbursed. Okay.
Now, this is insurance, but can you talk about the different facilities, the private clinics versus
public?
Yeah.
You bet. Okay. I have been in a public hospital once. It was my first month here, and I stayed 2 nights, and I never, ever, ever, ever want to go back. Ever. I have visited a number of times. I don't want to be there. Okay? The facilities are not good. The cleanliness is not good. They don't have supplies. They don't have well-experienced doctors as a general rule. There are many, many private clinics in this country, all over this country, and their care is exceptional. Okay, they have excellent care. Right from eye doctors to heart surgeons, we have seriously good options in this country. And in the bigger centers, you have better options. I'm in Santo Domingo, I have all the options I need. Santiago has them. Punta Cana now has them. The North Coast has better options now than they did 19 years ago. So we have great care. if you have insurance or if you have money. If you have neither, frankly, you're screwed. You're going to a public hospital, and it's not nice.
And I just want to emphasize that also. What she said about private and public hospitals or clinics, really rewind and listen to that again. I had a friend who had an accident. We rushed him to the nearest hospital, which was a public hospital. We called his wife. She came. She's Dominican. She came in. She saw the conditions. She said, no, we're getting him out of here. So who knows what happened. So definitely get your insurance to make sure you can get into a private facility, clinic or hospital.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, speaking of that, when you let the viewers know that even though you have insurance, sometimes you still have to pay beforehand, especially if it's an emergency.
Okay, that is technically illegal. The government has come out and clearly stated that they're asking you in an emergency situation, if they're asking you for a deposit and you have insurance, that is illegal. However, they still do it. So be aware that that could happen. But you want to fight it. If you know that's illegal and you state that, a lot of times they'll back right off. Just be aware. And most insurance in an emergency basis has 100% coverage up to the limits. Non-emergency services normally have a 20% copay. Be aware of that and be ready to pay.
When we talk about coverage, there's different levels to coverage also.
Correct.
Because you were talking about emergencies or if you have to be evacuated.
Okay.
So if you could just a little bit about, not detail, but a little bit about the different
so there's, most companies offer 5 or 6 different levels. You need to look at the cost-benefit relationship. What can you afford? What do you need? And what are the benefits you're going to pay for? I made the decision about my coverage based on what I realistically could expect. There is more expensive coverage, and in my opinion, it wasn't worth the extra money every month because I have a bit of a cushion. If something happens, I'm okay. Not everybody's like that. And it's also about what can you actually afford. Most local people can't afford the coverage I have. At $55 a month, to them, that's a lot of money. To most of us as expats, if you're American and you've paid the American health premiums, $55 is nothing. If you're Canadian and you've always had universal health care, $55 might seem like a lot of money, but it's well worth it. Okay, the other coverage I offer is about $37, $38, and there's one less than that that's about $20, but I won't provide that to anybody because it's not worth the 20 bucks. So, but that's my analysis. You need to do what works for you, not what works for me.
Well, I want to say,
I have one more thing I want to say.
I was going to say in conclusion.
And this goes along with healthcare, is end of life planning. Okay, so eventually we're all going to die. If you're living here, I know you don't plan to die, but you need to make the planning portions put in place. If you don't have a will in this country and you have assets in this country, it is inexpensive and simple to get a will. You also need a power of attorney that gives somebody else the right to make decisions for you. I'm a single woman taking applications for boyfriends, okay? If something happens to me, who makes a decision on my behalf? There is now someone who has power of attorney for me. It's inexpensive. Get it done. I've just gone through this twice in the last year with people who did not plan ahead. And let me tell you, it's damn ugly. Ugly what will happen. And you know the only people who benefit from that is doctors, hospitals, and the government. So, $200-300, you can get all of that taken care of if it's simple, okay? I highly recommend it.
Well, thank you. That was something I didn't think about. And as you get older, you need to plan. Because a lot of us do obtain assets after we've lived here for a while.
And if you have a will in another country, 95% of the time it's not valid here. It will cost real money to validate that will. Meanwhile, everything's on hold. Okay? For a couple $100, you can get a proper will done, get it in place, and now everything is taken care of. Do that for the people you love. Do it for the people you don't even like.
I like that. Do it for the kids, people. Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids, yeah. Do it for the kids. Or do it for me, okay? Because I don't want to clean up the mess.
Well, Darlene, I want to thank you for your time and your expertise, and that's what I really like about my channel, is that we're giving you information from people who actually do this. This is not speculation. And so for full disclosure, yes, Darlene is who I get my insurance from. I'm with Hermano, and it's worth it. I just had to do a battery of tests at a clinic the other day, and with my insurance, it cost me 230 pesos. So that is great.
That's less than $5.
So thank you for tuning in to WDRC in Santo Domingo. Like and subscribe. And if you have any other questions, email me and we'll get back with you. Thank you.